Let's dive into Transition Page 1, the foundation for planning a student's life after high school. Page 1 focuses on post-secondary goals and planning. My name's Caitlin Prevost. I'm a program specialist with the El Dorado Charter SELPA, and I'll be guiding you through the IEP in a Minute series, one section at a time. As you move through this series, please be aware that any time you see a field outlined in a red box, it indicates an element of compliance reporting. These fields are required, and leaving them blank will generate a CalPADS error, which means your submission will not process correctly. Be sure to complete every field that has a red box around it to avoid generating CalPADS errors. Post-secondary goals and transition services must be addressed no later than the IEP that's in place when a student turns 16. But don't wait until then. Best practice and California Educational Code encourage starting this process as early as high school entry. Before we dive into the IEP pages, let's pause to review the requirement effective July 2025. Previously, federal and state law required post-secondary goals and transition services in IEPs by age 16. Under AB 438, IEP teams must now consider including these goals and services when a student enters high school. If the team determines it's appropriate to postpone transition planning until age 16, be sure to document the reasons discussed by the IEP team in the IEP notes. Now let's walk through each section of Transition Page 1. Student invited. Students must be invited to attend their IEP when transition is discussed. Mark yes on the transition page and keep a copy of the meeting invitation in the file. Agency invited. When relevant agencies like DOR or Regional Center are likely to support transition, invite them with permission from the educational rights holder and mark yes. Or indicate NA if it's not appropriate to invite an outside agency. There shouldn't be any circumstances that would indicate no, meaning that an outside agency is appropriate but wasn't invited. Student participation. Check how the student participated in the process. Interview, survey, self-assessment, or attending the meeting. You can select more than one. Transition assessments. Use age-appropriate, comprehensive assessments to identify the student's interests and preferences. This is your present levels for transition planning. Think beyond career inventories. Include report cards, information from the psychoeducational report, informal interviews, formal interviews, information pertaining to adaptive skills, and teacher observations. Best practice would also include assessment information that's provided from multiple people regarding the student's performance in multiple environments. Post-secondary goals. Write measurable goals for education or training, employment, and independent living if appropriate. A student's post-secondary goals define what they plan to do following high school. They typically focus on the 12 to 24 months following high school graduation or completion. Post-secondary goals should be student-centered and based on assessment and present levels. Goals should reflect what the student plans to do after high school, not just the steps to get there. For example, upon completion of school, I will attend a community college to complete my general education requirements before transferring on to a 4-year college to study landscape, architecture, or engineering. Students must also have a post-secondary goal related to employment. All transition goals should connect or link with annual goals that build the skills needed to achieve them. This doesn't mean that a transition goal is rewritten as an annual goal. Instead, it means that you're identifying the student's current IEP goals that support them in achieving this goal, and that should be identified here. The person or agency responsible should include the student, but you must also include anyone else responsible for supporting these goals. Transition service codes. Identify services that support movement towards post-secondary goals, like vocational training or adult living skills. All students must have some level of college and career awareness as part of their offer of FAPE services. Related services. Include any DIS or related services that support transition, like counseling, transportation training, mobility services, just to name a few. The activities and community experiences. Add classroom-based and community-based experiences like college visits, job application assistance, self-help lessons, work experience, and more. Remember, transition planning should be individualized, culturally responsive, and forward-thinking, supporting the student's journey toward adulthood. Independent living goals are considered as appropriate. While all students can benefit from developing skills for greater independence, these goals are especially relevant for students on a certificate of completion track or an alternate pathway to a diploma. IEP teams should thoughtfully consider including independent living goals for students who require one-on-one adult support during the school day, have low incidence disabilities that significantly impact their daily functioning, and for students who receive ERMs that might require support with emotional regulation, social skills, or daily living. In such cases, these goals can support a smoother transition to adulthood and promote greater independence in life after high school. Transition planning and post-secondary goals are central to the Thread of Ed benefit for high school students. They provide a clear vision of where the student is headed after high school, whether that's college, career, or independent living, and they drive the development of the IEP. Transition goals should be updated annually. There must be documentation that post-secondary goals in the IEP are for the current year and have been updated according to the student's changing strengths, preferences, and interests. Thank you for joining me for this IEP in a Minute module. Be sure to check out the additional resources linked below for a deeper dive in today's topic. And remember, every IEP must be individualized to meet the unique needs of the student. The examples shared here are just that, examples. Use them as a guide, but always tailor the plan based on data, input, and what's appropriate for the student you're supporting.